Hey everyone, welcome back to the Archangel 15. This is my 8th video in my Theory of Everything presentation series. This is the only time I'm going to do this, but I'm actually going to forward you to a pre-existing video that I have on my channel. There's a couple of reasons that I want to do this. This is going to be video 1. I'm going to cover some stuff here. Video 2, I've already done before, and I find it to be adequate for the content that I want to basically convey. I also would like you to possibly go through my pre-existing videos and see other ones that I've done on my channel. I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to post a link into the comments section and also into the introduction section that you can click on and go right to that video. It's really good work, and you should have an appreciation for it. And I never really intended to make it for the Theory of Everything, but it'll suffice. I do want to note, however, too, that I really believe a spoken language is almost something that denotes a lesser race. I truly, wholeheartedly believe that there are other races that are able to speak solely through telepathy or telekinesis. I'm not going to really get into my evidence for that, but some people may have experienced this themselves. I've been to like the airport in France before, and like I almost feel like when I'm in France, I have like this telekinesis with the people there or something, and other places as well. It probably has to do with people who are vaccinated versus not vaccinated. Other phenomenon as well with what you eat and genetics maybe. I take great pride in my work, and like I said, please take the time to go through some of my other videos that I've done in the past, and I'll name a few here that I've done that I find to be of great value. And keep in mind that like the content of stuff that I talk about is not stuff you're really going to hear about other places. I go deeper down the rabbit hole than anybody else goes and cover topics very few people will have the courage or proverbial balls to talk about. I mean, there's like innumerable things that could easily get me killed on this channel. Hopefully someday when I die, my legacy will live on. Hopefully I have a long, happy life and able to start a family. You get the point. So starting with Zio Global Truth, I have a series starting with, there's 3 parts, 1, 2, and 3. That's like my original work, like the whole foundation of this channel. It's Zio Global Truth, Great Conspiracies, and the ABRH Negative Bloodline. I started off with this demonstration of a plastic water bottle where I pour a plastic water bottle on a piece of glass and like let it, the second video you see where it dries and you can see the stuff that comes up on it. Huge conspiracy with plastic water bottles. Emergency well water extraction for like a doomsday scenario, my own little invention kind of. I haven't seen anything else relative to it online. I take credit for that. 35% food grade hydrogen peroxide, oxygen therapy, like the biggest suppression, probably the #1 thing that could get me killed. And I take great pride in that video as well. I have a series on suppressed medical science. I talk about various things. There's 4 videos to that. I may add more in the future as I come across stuff. Check that out if you get a chance. How to live an austere life. Washington, D.C. sexual misconduct. Real big one. Gets into like the whole D.C. Politico, like traces back to like the Monica Lewinsky scandal and this other woman that was killed, Mary Catherine Mahoney, and like countless others that had, the body bags associated with them, and the Clintons and other people. Very personal to me, that topic. Also, there's like a few other ones, and cloning and the real reptilian agenda. War crimes, Iraq and Afghanistan truth, real big one there. I recently just did a interview with a guy from the anti-nuclear proliferation peace tent, and he unveiled some really interesting information. They're saying that basically they used nuclear weapons in Iraq and Afghanistan, and that's a really good one as well. From like I said, and also he talks about the Washington D.C. protests, charity scams. One of my personal favorites is the one on the placebo effect. I cover a lot of information in this book by Joe Dispenza, You Are the Placebo, but kind of put my own twist on it and like ask the question like of there are like 3 different phenomenon for the existence of this interesting cause. Like I said, the human cloning and real reptilian agenda. I have a tribute to my great-grandfather, George Vogel, Civil War hero, also friends with Buffalo Bill Cody. Real amazing man and story. I have a link underneath of it of like a newspaper clipping that I found. I actually obtained most of the information from the Library of Congress, and I recently just found that out. My mother's father, I should picture of the other day, another presentation, Alfred Granick, U.S. Naval code breaker. He helped to break Japanese code in World War II. Really interesting stories he shared with me. They're very dear to my heart. I have a workout game that helps break up the monotony of working out, and I'm going to get into that with alchemy later on. The flu vaccine, I read the ingredients right from the handout that comes with it. Like it's in like micro print, and really damning interesting stuff there, especially as this whole coronavirus thing with the vaccine comes up to be a pertinent topic. High concentration green tea detoxification, having amazing results with this. There's a lot of nasty stuff in our environment right now, and like I said, basically you take like 3-4 bags per cup, put them in, let it steep. I like to use organic, like the high quality green tea, and then like take the bags and squeeze them real hard and get like the extract out of them, and you'll notice a big difference. Now another one as well with right now, like there's a lot of lung issues and upper respiratory issues going on. Oregano tea. I got myself a steeper ball or steeper bag, and you can use probably any type of oregano. I like to try to find organic oregano if you can, and make your own oregano tea. And it's like kind of almost like smoking a cigar. It's like a nice way to end the night or something. But about 2 hours after you drink it, you feel a difference. It has Cavaricol, and if you search any type of natural remedies for lung health, that's a real big one that comes up. I'm having amazing results with that, so please keep that in mind if you're having any lung issues or know somebody that is. It's actually, if you drink it cold, it tastes really good. You would never in a million years think that it does. Even just like letting it steep and just breathing it in helps as well. I want to mention first important symbolism that I failed to mention in the last video, or my top presentation on symbolism. It's regarding maritime symbols. Quote from an old friend of mine said, "Old salt never really gets old." You can kind of understand the hyperbole there. Particularly know that the anchor and the ship is like of great significance, especially like a sailing vessel, and it's like kind of gets into this deeper corollary to a chalice or just a vessel in general. Someday I hope that I'm able to go to. I'd like to go to Norway to visit in the wintertime actually, and I'd like to see the Viking Ship Museum. If you're into maritime stuff, definitely look at that. I also have a presentation on early naval warfare projectiles. I have 2 that I recovered that I believe to be from the Revolutionary Era or War of 1812. I talk about that. Real interesting stuff there. So like kind of bringing this over. Okay, so there's something special about waves and just this concept of waves, and if you ever been on the beach or something about just the relaxation. Obviously it gets into, like I said, electrolytes are on the beach and just the harmony and being in the direct sunlight, free vitamin D3, but it gets into oscillation, undulation, verification, and even diffraction of waves. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please look it up. They even have on your phone, like you can download an oscilloscope app. It's really cool to kind of play with. It shows like the tones of your of your voice and other things as well. Like a tuner app that tells the different frequencies. Another cool thing to play with. You can do this on your phone. Another thing I wanted to mention too, per the Caldasis video, is like I talked about the 8, the symbolism with the 8, but also our musical scale is based on octaves. We in our scale we have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, te, do. The Indian scale, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. Very interesting there as well. Definitely understand what an octave is, like the increase or decrease in tone. You can kind of search it on your own. I'm going to use a book now. Definitely also another video that's good to look at is understand the sematics of sound and Chalandi waves or patterns, they call them. They have people that put like a flat piece of glass or something on top of a speaker and play different tones and pour sand on it, and it like makes these different fractal patterns. Really interesting there. It's kind of like a corollary to consciousness and Dr. Emoto's famed water experiments. If you don't know what that is, please look up Dr. Emoto's water experiments, where he writes on the on the like different bottles, different like positive things and negative things, freezes them, and then looks at the fractal patterns under a microscope, and you can see like the ones that are like negative stuff carry negative consciousness and like almost look like cancer, whereas the positive ones have these beautiful snowflake like patterns. So moving along. Like I said, I'm not going to go over every single one of these. I'm just going to show you pictures, and if you're interested, you can look on your own. For research and understand minors, majors, flats, sharps, undertones, overtones, halftones, rhythm, melody, and particularly harmony. Some people just have like a majestic way that they write music, and there's like a certain tonality to it. You can see again like the waves, this is tones and halftones. Gets into intervals too. Like the intervals, really, really important. Here's these Cholandi patterns. But like I said, it's cooler to look actually online. Here you get into overtones. Like I said, you can see like the waves that look like the 8. Goes on and on. Everything basically moves and travels in waves. Scales. Rhythm. And then basic melody. And you have like this caudasis again. Really, really, really cool stuff. And I think you'll have an appreciation for that if you look into it. A lot of this stuff I may cover in the second part of the video that I did 4 months ago, so I don't want to get into too much here, but I hope that everybody will go from this video to the other one, the pre-existing one. So I was watching the Rockettes the other day on a Christmas special, like the Rockefeller Christmas tree lighting, and I noticed that there's something about it that almost defies time, and it gets into this concept of harmony, like this harmonization. There's something very, very special about it. I've spoken in the past about harmony. The book Nada Brahma, which I learned about through Eileen, very, very interesting. Gets into like understanding of how like there's like this beautiful existence that's supposed to like flow seamlessly in life, and everybody's supposed to live in harmony. But because of like the fake war machine, like the drilling, like the unnecessary drilling of oil, all these people taking prescription drugs that are poison and basically based on the placebo effect, and basically the end of the story with this and Nada Brahma is like nuclear warfare, and like it explains that like at any given time it's like they're prepared to throw the whole thing into like this tizzy, and like it'll probably be the end, and really, really messes up things. Harmonograph is also a really interesting concept. There's like this machine. Definitely look it up if you don't know what it is. Like you start it into motion, and it like creates almost like this, like it's like a ghost. Like at the end you had this majestic, beautiful shaped pattern. And in the 1800s, they used to have parties based on these harmonographs. They used to have literally like parties. People would come and just to see what kind of picture they could get it to draw. I mean, no two pictures will ever be alike. It's sort of like a fingerprint or something like that. The 3 coolest instruments, in my opinion, are the violin. I could go on and on and on about my love and obsession and about their value. Like, you take like very extremely exotic cars like a 67 or 69 Yenko Camaro, where there's only like a few thousand of them made, and like they sell for like $250,000, maybe $500,000. Like now I don't know what they go for, but like if you take a vintage Stradivari or Del Gesù violins, they go, I mean, you couldn't even buy one. They're like at least $20-50 million, and it's like they carry consciousness to them. And there's deeper conspiracy, in my opinion, about the like the new violins. Like the open E string doesn't carry the same tune, and it's almost like gets into a deeper conspiracy of like the CIA. Like they don't want certain frequencies to exist in like the hands of regular people. It like gets into this attaining the Akashic record, specifically the open E string on a violin. I've talked about ether and aether. It's like gets into the exact same concept, and you're like, well, that you based that on oxygen and like weather and stuff like that. But like, yes, it gets into this notion of ether and aether, and like even if you play it, like you'll notice that your body secretes like a different smell. It's like really, really weird, and nobody ever talks about this. And the other presentation I have gets into a huge conspiracy about how like people were many people and bands were killed for knowing like the power of music. This is a really, really big deal. The piano, also very interesting and noteworthy. It has 88 keys. Like I said, kind of interesting. I'm doing this presentation number 8. Kind of worked out that way. Keys are black and white. Gets into like other stuff I've talked about before, string theory, maybe whatever. A really cool one that most people don't think of and may not even know about is the calliope. They used to use it for like circuses. It's like almost like an organ, but you like the other ones used to have like steam based or like some kind of like a basically air powered, and it's like these pipes that come up and like woo 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 woo. But if you get a chance, look up calliope. They were in like the 1930s. After the 1940s is when everything changed. Like they started taking control of the whole entire music industry and everything. My all-time favorite musician probably is Hank Williams Sr. I just have an outright love. I mean, the little bit of time he was here on Earth, he did so much. It was absolutely amazing what he was able to accomplish. Like I said, know that certain people's tonality has like just a special way that it flows. Particularly my love for Russian composers, Nicholas Rimsky-Korsakov and Sherazade. I think it's like Arabian Nights theme to it or something. But the opening 2-3 minutes of Sherazade, you can hear that open E string, and it's like, oh, it catches you. Another one is Alexander Scriabin. He was totally an alien. And if you ever get a chance to his mazurkas, Scriabin mazurkas, really, really good. I am always looking for new stuff as well. There's so many people that never really were realized or were able to maximize their true potential. The Mozart effect, you may or may not know about. They've done studies. People that listen to Mozart have higher test scores if they listen to it before taking tests, and like stimulation and developing brains like kids, and like autism. They've done studies on. A new one that I've been big on is Max Bruch. I think maybe from Germany. Really interesting there. Like I said, the CIA probably has a whole room of like instruments they took from people that like literally they just went and like took them, and they like, you can't have this, or it killed people, and they know. That sounds bizarre, but it's true. Also interesting is how the CIA, they created microchips in the 60s and 70s. They probably had them past worlds or something like that, alien technology. But they basically like put like something like type of like a tuner on people's vocals, and then put like EKG or EEG machines or sensors on their head. And after they did that, they could like basically like when you talked, they it stimulated certain areas of the brain. And then they also did things where they showed people pictures of familiar things and unfamiliar things, and like automatically familiar things and unfamiliar things trigger certain areas of the brain. Mind Control, World Control, a book that I think I got that from, and there's another one as well, same author. I think it's like the second. There's like 2, 3, 4 books that are in like a series. Their books are almost scary. I don't even like to read them, to be honest with you. They really are scary when you get into the truth about what's been happening for many, many years. Like I said, I want to reiterate that I really believe that a spoken language like almost classifies a lesser race. That they're like, some people think roots of. I asked the question like, where did it all begin? The roots of of language, and I guess it's very debatable. I don't really give a specific answer, but I believe that I can tell you that it wasn't Latin. I really don't believe that. Here is the cochlea. I showed this in the last presentation. Cochlea of the ear, and here is a violin scroll. From a Stradivari. And supposedly when they made the violins, they did not know or have it like prior knowledge of the anatomy of the ear, the inner ear. You can see the scrolls similar on like a violin, viola, cello, double bass. You get the point. I will now, someday I would really like to pursue my musical passion. I've been very deeply suppressed, and like someday I would love to be able to buy various things, just music related things. I really believe, you see how beautiful I produce, just like the flow of my presentations. I mean, if I was able to have instruments, I could probably do very, very good quality work with music. I have a great love for all types of music. I love the old country stuff. I can't stand the new country stuff that's out, but like Patsy Cline, Old Hank, note that both of them are passed prematurely. And there's many others that were killed as well. I cover that in the other presentation. Again, I'm going to post links to my other presentation I did 4 months ago. I will now forward you there. Thank you for your time. Please go to the other presentation and watch it after this one. Thank you.